Now we go over to the topic of inequalities in one variable. So here we will be studying the inequalities that involve only one unknown. Okay, for example, something like, say, if we have x is greater than 5 or x upon 2 is less than 7 and so on. So you see, everywhere we have only one variable in it. Well, we may have the inequalities in one variable but of degree bigger than 1 also. Something like, suppose we have x square minus 3x plus 2 greater than 0. Now this involves only one variable x, but it is not a linear inequality, it is a quadratic inequality that we may call it. Okay, so while solving the inequalities, what it means is, to solve an inequality means to find all the values of the unknown x which satisfy that inequality. So it is very much similar to what do we mean by solving an equation. Okay, so equation involves equality, here we have inequality. So on solving the inequality, we can also represent that solution set or the set of values of the unknown x which satisfy the inequality in a graphical manner also. So let us see how to denote the solution of an inequality graphically. So that's a graphical representation of solution of an inequality. So let's take very simple cases. Suppose we consider the inequality x greater than 1. So what does it mean? It's the set of all the possible values of x, and we take it as real when nothing is mentioned, such that it is greater than 1. So on a number line, if you show a number line, say there is 0 here and 1 here, I will include all the values to the right side of 1, isn't it? So I darken the number line which lies on the right side of 1. Now while doing this, let's ask the question about the value 1 itself. Do we want to include the value 1 itself? The answer is no, because we don't want x even equal to 1. Okay, so but while drawing it, when we just darken the segment like this, it may be ambiguous that someone who is reading or looking at this figure, there might be a confusion whether I have included the value 1 or not. Okay, so in order to avoid that, we have a symbolic notation that what do we do is, at value 1 we show a hollow circle. Okay, and the right part of it, the part that lies on the right, we darken it. So this indicates that clearly the value 1 is not to be included, but the entire region lying on the right side of 1 is to be included. Okay, let's take another example. Suppose we have x less than 1. Now you can definitely guess what this would look like if we want to show it graphically. So clearly we have to include the entire region which lies on the left side of x, that is the values which are less than 1. Okay, so here also we darken the entire region that lies to the left of value 1, and to avoid the ambiguity, we draw a hollow circle at value 1. Correct? Okay, now let us consider a slightly different question. Suppose we want to show x greater than or equal to 1. If you compare that with the first one, the only minute change is that now I allow x to be equal to 1 also. So x equal to 1 is also a valid solution here. So you see how we will show it. Of course we have to show the entire region on the right side of 1, that is still part of the answer, but now we want to specifically include the value 1 also. Okay, so this is where we will show a darkened circle at 1. You see, earlier we showed the hollow circle to clearly tell that the value 1 is to be excluded. Here we show the solid circle at 1 to confirm that the value 1 has to be included. And similarly, when we consider the other possibility, something like x is less than 1, so now you can easily make out what the graph would look like. We have to consider the entire region which lies to the left of 1, and the value 1 itself also has to be included, right? So based on this, we can show the solution set of any inequality graphically also on the number line. Okay, let's go ahead and learn what is the meaning of the various intervals. Okay, this is just the new terminology for what we have already studied. So we have to consider three types of intervals, that is closed, open, or semi-closed or semi-open. So let's understand what is the meaning of closed interval. Okay. For example, consider the case where x lies between two numbers, say 1 and 2. Okay, this is called as a closed interval. That means x lies between two values including those values also. That means x can take the values of the end points of that interval. So I can also say that x belongs to the interval 1 to 2, and by closed we mean that the end values 1 and 2 are also included, and the closed interval is shown by writing the two values in square brackets. Okay. Now graphically how we would show this, say if this is 1 and this is 2, so clearly we would show that as the segment that lies between 1 and 2 is darkened, and you see the endpoints 1 and 2 are also required, so clearly we will darken the circles at 1 and 2. In case of open interval there is only minute change. Okay. Here we have x lying between 1 and 2 strictly. That means you see there are no equalities now here. That means x still can take all the values between 1 and 2 but cannot take the values 1 and 2 themselves. Okay, so this is called as open interval and it is denoted by round brackets. So we write 1 to 2 but in round brackets. Okay. Now how will we show this on the number line? Once again we have 1 and 2. Now here, since the end values cannot be taken, we have to show a hollow circle at 1 and 2 to clearly tell that those values are to be excluded, and we darken the entire region between them as before. Okay, so that's the important difference. And the semi-closed or semi-open interval is a mixture of closed and open. That means, what if we have something like this: 1 less than or equal to x but less than 2. So you see it is closed on one end but open on the other end. That is, so here we have 1 and 2. Now being closed at 1 we will darken the circle at 1, but being open at 2 we will show the hollow circle and the region between them is to be darkened. Similarly, we can have the other possibility also, that is 1 is less than x, which in turn is less than or equal to 2. So this also we can clearly show. Now as far as the notations are considered, the first case is denoted as closed at 1 but open at 2. Correct? So here we are to show square bracket as well as the round bracket at the appropriate places depending on where the equality is present. And in case of the second one, we will write round bracket 1 comma 2 and closed by the square bracket. Right. Let us go ahead and solve few simple examples based on the inequalities. Now we have to solve this inequality. That means we have to find the values of x that satisfy the given equations. For this, you see, we will have to recall and use the required properties of inequalities. So here we have 3x and we have 2x. So we subtract x and we subtract 2 at left hand and right hand side respectively. So clearly we get 2x is greater than 6. Now dividing both sides by 2, and 2 is a positive number, so therefore the inequality will be retained and we will get x is greater than 3. Now this can be written as x belongs to the interval 3 to infinity. That is, it can have any value greater than 3 up to positive infinity. So if you want to show this on the number line, so 3 is not to be included, therefore we have to draw a hollow circle at 3, but the entire region to the right side of 3 is to be included till infinity. Okay, so that's the graphical representation of the solution of this inequality. Let's see one more question. Now this is not a linear inequality, but it is still an inequality, and it is a quadratic inequality because it has a quadratic polynomial on left side. Now looking at this particular quadratic polynomial, we can easily factorize it, and you know how to factorize a quadratic. Here we get x minus 1 and x minus 2 is less than 0. Now what it means is the product of two quantities is negative. So ask the question, when it is possible that product of two numbers or two quantities is negative? So there are only two possibilities. First is either one is positive and the other is negative, or either first is negative and second is positive. So basically we want both of them to be of different signs, and we can decide which is positive or which is negative in two cases. So case 1 is that let us consider the first number to be positive and second number to be negative. This is one possibility. Or the second possibility is that the first number is negative and second number is positive. Right? Now let us see what is the meaning of this, or what does this lead us to. Now x minus 1 is greater than 0 means clearly x is greater than 1, and x minus 2 is less than 0 means clearly x is less than 2. Now because of this and, we have to think of all the values of x which satisfy both of these inequalities simultaneously. Okay, so how to do that? Let us think. We want x to be greater than 1, but we want x to be less than 2 also. So what is the common region between them? Clearly it is the region that lies between 1 and 2 and excluding the values 1 and 2. So that means here the solution is x must lie between 1 and 2 but not equal to 1 and 2 themselves. So this is an open interval. Okay, so this is one part of the answer. Now let us look at the other possibility. Now if x is less than x minus 1 is less than 0, that means x is less than 1, isn't it? And x minus 2 is greater than 0 means x is greater than 2. Now let's understand what does this mean, once again with the help of a number line. We want x to be less than 1, but we want x to be greater than 2 also simultaneously. Now is it ever possible? We know that of course it's not possible. A number cannot be less than 1 and greater than 2 simultaneously. So therefore this particular case is invalid, that is there is no value of x that is coming as a valid solution out of this possibility. So the only possibility is that x must lie between 1 and 2 as an open interval. Okay, so that is the solution set of this particular inequality.